Hey everyone, Dan Mortimer with eXp Realty bringing you another weekly real estate market update. This is for Henderson and Las Vegas markets with data as of July 14th, 2025. July is flying by. It's crazy to think. But let's go ahead and dive into the data for the last 7 days, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and perspective on it as well. So in the last 7 days, we have seen 1,028 new listings hit the market. We also saw 182 properties that went back on the market. As far as price decreases, this is something that we've seen pretty high the last 6-7 weeks. But we have 1,172 price decreases in the last 7 days, down a little bit from last week, if I recall. I think we've been pretty consistently over 1,200, so 1,172, a little bit of a back off from that, but still very high. Getting into the under contracts. Now, this is something that a couple of weeks ago, there was a pretty alarmingly low number, but it looks like things have rebounded quite a bit. We had 342 properties go into under contract show status and another 422 that went into under contract no show status. So in total, you're talking about 764. Still a lot less than that 1,028 new listings hitting the market. So we are still seeing that gap in the inventory as it continues to increase, but definitely a healthy number of properties going under contract as well. Getting into the solds, we had 573 homes that were sold in the last 7 days, and another 85 that got put into coming soon status, meaning they'll be active on the MLS within the next 30 days or less. Getting into the active listings, this is something that, again, we've seen continued growth really throughout the entire year, but especially in the last 3-4 months. We currently have 7,514 single-family homes that are active on the market, another 1,548 condos, and 1,165 townhomes. So as we are now kind of on the second half of summer, or on the back end of summer, we're in the middle of July, we kind of have already gone through what is typically our peak buying season, where we see the most buyer activity, the strongest prices, inventory typically goes down, and obviously in 2025 we have not seen that. For those that haven't watched my July monthly market update video, I talk a little bit about some of the trends and what we've seen, but basically last year was the slowest for the number of total home transactions in the Las Vegas area since 2008. Nationwide, it was the lowest it's been since 1994. And even though the prices are still strong, they're still holding up well. June, we hit our record median home price sale again, but the number of transactions is looking even lower and trending even lower than what we saw last year. Some decent drops of anywhere from 8 to 12%, depending on the property type. The year-over-year drop has been pretty big, but the prices have held somewhat firm. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to continue, but it does look like inventory is going to continue to climb through the rest of the year unless we see some drastic change with interest rates. You know, the prices will continue to kind of creep down. I've mentioned in other update videos before, sellers, because of how the market's been really for the last 5-6 years, up until 2023, 2024, a lot of people are still pricing them high, getting a little bit of activity, and then they kind of come down little by little, which is not a great strategy in a market like this. You want to try to be the next home to sell, and so you need to price yourself competitively. You need to make your home stand out in every way possible, make it look its very best online to attract as much buyer activity in the door as you can, because that's what ultimately leads to offers and stronger offers on any home, regardless of price range. This is the very interesting trend that we really haven't seen as much of, at least in the Las Vegas market. Is we used to have some fluctuations throughout the entire market, but there was always pretty consistent buyer activity on homes under $550,000, maybe even up to $600,000. Regardless of what was going on in the rest of the market and overall trends, there was always pretty consistent demand in those price ranges. A lot of first-time home buyers, people coming in from out of state, getting into entry-level homes, condos, townhomes, things like that. And so the demand on those has always been really strong. This is the part of the market that has been very, very different in 2024, but especially here in 2025, where we are not seeing that same level of buyer activity, even in the lower price ranges. Homes under 500,000, homes under 450, homes under 400 even, they're still taking longer to sell. There just aren't as many buyers out there in the market. There are buyers out there, but now that they have more choices, making your home stand out is more important than ever. And who you choose to work with, the way that you market your home, the way that it's prepped and ready for showing activity, you kind of have to do anything and everything you can right now to bring in buyers, because the ones that are serious have a lot of choices, and so you have to make yours stand out. Just like when the market was flipped in 2021 and we were seeing so many offers on homes and buyers doing all kinds of crazy things to get their offer accepted, it's kind of flipped now to where sellers have to find ways to be competitive, be aggressive, and attract those buyers. Because again, if you were a buyer in 2021 and you were trying to go after a home that had 6 offers and you came in $20,000 below list price and asked for a bunch of concessions and a bunch of contingencies, and it was contingent on your home selling in some other market, it was very unlikely that you were going to even get a response on your offer, let alone get it accepted or get some kind of positive outcome from the seller, because people were going in at list, they were going above list, they were waiving contingencies, waiving their due diligence, waiving their appraisal, waiving their loan contingency, which are things that I would never recommend as a real estate professional, but people went above and beyond to lock in the home because they had to make their offer stand out. So I mentioned it a couple updates ago, but when you're talking about pricing your home, you have to price it and you have to strategize for the market that we're in now, not the market that you want to be in, but the actual market that we're in now. And so that's kind of why I wanted to lay out that groundwork of, just like things were really competitive for buyers and they had to stand out as much as possible back in 2020, 2021, when things were ultra competitive. Now the flip side is happening and sellers have to either think themselves or utilize a really strong real estate professional that understands the best ways to market your home, get it in front of as many buyers as possible, and get as many people in the door as you can so that you can get the best offer possible, because there are just fewer buyers in the market than there are homes right now. And so the competition is very high on that end. Can be done. Like we said, it's not like there's nobody out there buying. There's 764 homes that went into escrow last week, but you have to find ways to stand out from the competition. So it'll be interesting to see as we get into kind of the back half of the year. Do we see things change? Do we see buyers say enough is enough? We're getting into the market regardless of rates and prices and things like that because we think things are going to keep going up? Or do we see this kind of sluggish trend continue where things trudge along? We don't see, the inventory continues to go up. Maybe prices stay flat. Maybe they dip just a little bit. It remains to be seen. Anybody that tells you they know exactly what's going to happen, they're guessing just like the rest of us, because there are so many factors that go into it, and things can change in the blink of an eye, but they can also continue to kind of trudge along like they have really going back the last 18 months even, but especially in the last, since the beginning of 2025, it's really been sluggish. We haven't seen the peak buying season that we normally do. And now we're getting into the second half of the year where things in our market historically slow down. So what does that look like for buyers and sellers? Remains to be seen. But I hope you guys got some value from this video. Please be sure to like it and subscribe if you found this content valuable. The other thing that you can do is if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, whether it be in the immediate future and the longer term future, I'll put a link in the description of this video. We can set up a one-on-one meeting to discuss what your goals are, what I can do for you, and see if we can get on the same page and put a game plan in place to help you to achieve your real estate goals, whether it's buying, selling, investing, coming into town, getting out of town, whatever it may be. I want to be a resource for you. There's no cost, no obligation, nothing like that. We can meet in person, over the phone. We can do it over a web call, whatever is convenient for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly update. I will see you at the next one.